This week on Stay in the Truck, we'll preview Week 8 of college football. So grab you a cold beverage and let's go. Welcome to Stay in the Truck, the ultimate podcast for sports enthusiasts and avid gamblers alike. Each week we'll provide you with invaluable insights, analysis, and tips to elevate your game. We can be found on all major podcast and social media outlets. See the show notes for details. Stick around to the end to hear this week's most boneheaded sports moments with our Stay in the Truck Awards. So let's jump right into this week's show. All right, guys. Week 7 is in the books, and it did not disappoint. We had a little bit of everything, with several ranked teams getting upset, and an outstanding top 10 showdown in the Pac-12.
I'd like to give a big shout out to Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes for, as a Falcon fan, I'm tired of seeing 28-3 on T-shirts and all over the place, and now that there's a new standard set at 29-0. So appreciate that, Deion. Prime time.
That's what happens when you can't run the football, man. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. No discipline. God only knows. Well, we already know they don't play defense.
Nope.
The receiver for Stanford, what was his name? A.M. Manor has like no catches or no yards in the first half, and then goes absolutely. How many yards you said?
294 yards on 13 receptions. God. One of them was a 97-yard touchdown.
Jesus.
They put up 19 points in the third quarter, 17 in the fourth quarter.
And how many did Colorado score in the second half?
7.
Blech.
14 if you count OT.
Yeah.
Just a disaster, just a dumpster dive for their season. I mean, they needed that game to propel forward, and the rest of their schedule is going to be tough.
They might not go to a bowl.
I mean, hey, let's talk real quick while we're on the Pac-12 in Colorado, because the next game, one of the games they got coming up that's going to be the only one they really probably have a chance to win is Arizona, who there's somebody on this podcast brought up Arizona last week as the best 3-3 team in all of college football. That same Arizona team went to Washington State this weekend, to a number 19 Washington State, and took Cameron Ward and his boys put them through the ringer at 44-6.
Held Cam Ward to 192 yards, no touchdowns and an interception. Cam had a QBR of 28.9.
Yeah, and that's the game that Colorado had a chance to win on the rest of their schedule, that Arizona game.
Yeah, Washington State scores 6 points in the first quarter and doesn't score again. I mean,
didn't do nothing.
Yikes.
Look, Arizona, they should have beat USC.
They should have.
It's the dumbass coach. I don't know what he was doing there. He should have went for 2 and ended the game right then and there. But no, he plays for overtime. Let's let Caleb Williams get back on the field. Now, that was two weeks ago. But
yeah,
I mean, they are definitely probably the best 4-3 team in the nation.
Well, I'm telling you, I saw something in them, and I knew it was coming. Moving on to what else we got? The Pac-12 was packed this week. How about before we get into that Oregon-Washington game, did anybody take notice of the UCLA-Oregon State matchup?
Yeah, UCLA's in trouble, man. They don't have a quarterback.
They can't score.
Nope. They don't have a quarterback. The kid is just not ready. Dante Moore at Detroit, Michigan, he's not ready.
They had to play catch up that whole game. Their defense didn't have a chance. They only held the ball for 22 minutes. Yeah. Oregon State dominated time possession, held the ball for 38 minutes, and just ran up and down the field. Now, here's the funny thing. We kept saying a few weeks ago we were talking about Oregon State and how the real DJ Ukulele was going to stand up from Clemson. Well, he still is not playing well. He had 128 yards passing. They absolutely demolished UCLA running the ball. They just ran up and down the field.
And, I mean, Cameron's still terrific running back for UCLA. 22 carries, 110 yards. He had a touchdown. But that's what Chip Kelly wants to do. Yep. He wants to run the ball. But when he gets behind and you got a freshman quarterback that you have no idea what he's about to do except turn the ball over, then, his hands get tied. And that now, they do have a legit defense. UCLA can play defense. But, again, like Colorado, when your defense is on the field, or anybody for that matter, when your defense is on the field more than your offense, you're going to have a problem.
Well, I think that both of those teams, even though they're having great years, I think that they're out of the running in the Pac-12.
They are.
I mean, we've seen some things come to light that I think that we'll talk about in a minute. But let's go on to the other upset from the Pac-12. How about the Fighting Irish
Yeah, well,
Saw that one coming.
yeah, I had a little bit of that USC money line, just thinking that, God, how much has Notre Dame got left in the tank? They just come off. I mean, look at they've been playing. They went to Ireland to open the season a week before anybody else even played, other than 6 teams. Then they already had to play Ohio State. Lost that heartbreaker of a game. They had to go to Duke. They had to pull that one out in the last minute of the game. They just lost to Louisville. I'm like, how much do they got left in the tank? But one thing about it, they do play defense over there now.
They're a hard-nosed, physical football team that plays good defense. And now we've seen that's all it's going to take to shut down Caleb. Did Caleb Williams get exposed?
Oh, yeah. Well,
Utah beat them twice last year.
Yes. Cal Winningham had the blueprint for him anyway, and Notre Dame just, they're very similar to Utah anyway.
Except
Cam Rising,
they got an offense this year.
Well, yeah, they actually do have it. Well, Cam's not playing, right? He ain't going to play. But we'll talk about that.
I hope he comes back.
I looked at the Heisman running contenders, and nobody's talking about Caleb Williams anymore. So I think he's out of that mix.
Well, he went from second favorite behind Penix to his. I heard somebody talking about it today that they seen him as high as 22-1 now.
Yeah, he's got 4 interceptions on the year. He threw 3 interceptions for the first time in that loss to Notre Dame.
In the first half.
Yeah. Terrible. I'm talking about they were bad.
I mean, just it wasn't even they didn't even look like a championship caliber team of any kind. They just looked like a regular.
They look like a Lincoln Ryan Oklahoma team that got smacked by anybody they played with the defense. Remember when LSU ran Kyler Murray and them off the field in 2019?
Yep.
I think it was the Sugar Bowl. They ran them off the field. It was like 42-0 before Kyler Murray even knew what happened.
Well, we talked about this last week when Arizona took them to overtime. And I think they got exposed back then, and Notre Dame just took it to the next level.
Well, even when we were in St. Simon's, however many weeks ago it was, Arizona State, they were a 33-point favorite over Arizona State. Arizona State kicked their ass pretty much the whole game, and they come back and pulled it out at the end. Well, Arizona State.
Well, what it really means is they're not much different than Colorado. They're
really not.
They're really on paper.
It's name brand biased. It's Lincoln Riley instead of Dion. Caleb Williams instead of Shadur, and Caleb's a damn defending Heisman.
But there's not much difference in those two teams.
They don't have a defense either. No. Hell, Colorado's defense might be better than theirs. I don't know. I don't know.
It'd be a fight to see which one of them wants to be the worst.
Colorado held Arizona State to less points than USC did. Yeah. I'm just saying.
All right, so the biggest game of the week in the Pac-12, maybe the biggest game in all of college football, was that Oregon-Washington game. And I watched that thing from start to finish.
That was a good game.
What a game.
Yeah, that was a great one.
It was a real good game. But, the only thing that kind of took the luster off of that game for me is that they're going to be playing again in a couple of weeks.
Well,
because Oregon ain't losing another game. I don't give a damn. The Civil War, it's in Oxton this year. It's in Eugene. It ain't in Corvallis. The Beavers ain't beating them, period. And Washington ain't going to lose another game.
Nope. Well, I think, people are going to say this game put Penix on the map as the front runner for the Heisman. And he had a great game. He played a really good first half. What we did see is Dan Lanning figured out that Michael Penix is not that great under pressure.
No.
He started putting pressure on him, and they scored 14 in the first quarter, and it was 1 touchdown a quarter after that. And I'll tell you the biggest thing that I took from this game is that I don't think the best team won.
No, absolutely not.
Dan Lanning,
if they played tomorrow on a neutral.
Yep.
Oregon's 3-point favorite. And they're going to bet it up from there.
At home, they'd be I think at home they're a touchdown favorite.
Yeah, probably 6. So, yeah.
So overall, 33-36 Washington, and we had Dan Lanning come out after the game and said, hey, I lost this game for our boys. They were in position to kick a field goal going into halftime that would have put them down 22-21, put them down by a point.
And get the ball back.
And then again, the second half, they had another opportunity for an easy field goal.
4th and 4th and goal on the 3 or something like that, wherever they were at down there.
Yeah, I think they were like 0-4 on 4th down conversions.
They were 0 for 3 on 4th down conversions.
And we talked about it during the game. It was like those 3 points are going to come back. Those 3 points.
We kept saying it.
Yeah.
I was beating my head against the wall.
6 points right there.
Take the points, Dan.
And
Take the points.
At the end, they had a chance to the field goal to win it, and he missed it.
And he missed the field goal. So they play again, and I think Oregon absolutely – I really think if they play again that Oregon's going to beat them
Yes.
like handedly.
You know, the bad thing is that poor kicker.
Yeah.
I mean, he goes and
Kickers.
screws up 2 chances to get points for 6 points during the game, and then all this pressure gets put on the kicker. He misses the field goal.
Yeah, when he could have had 2 chip shots and they'd have been in the lead in the first place.
Look,
the one he missed was a relative chip shot, wasn't it? It was like 35 yards or something.
we can talk about Michael Penix, and look, he's the front runner for the Heisman. But
He made when he wasn't under pressure, he threw some
yeah.
fantastic balls. I mean, balls that
look,
were into coverage that
let's
were
talk
on the
about
money.
Bo, though.
Hey,
Bo, 337 yards, man.
and that's bad Bo Nix.
That's bad Bo on the road.
Playing an
Bo.
away game.
Look, he has 17 touchdowns this year and only 1 pick. And he led that team. Now, look, granted, this is not Bo throwing it down the field 40 yards at a shot, but he can. He can go long when he needs to. He is a lot
Oregon had 541 yards of offense.
Yes, absolutely. So
I mean,
and that's the 2 running backs combined for about 180 yards, and the rest was Bo.
Washington had nothing for them on defense. I mean, Oregon controlled time of possession, held the ball for 8 minutes longer.
We've talked about this.
They won every aspect of the game except
Dan Lanning has brought an SEC team to the Pac-12 as close as he can get it now.
Yeah.
And the longer he stays there,
The
or
more-
the Big Ten now, or Big 12, whatever.
Hey, he's on the rise.
Yes,
You know,
he
you
should
go
have been
back-
Auburn's head coach.
You
I
go
told
back to
y'all.
Kirby's first couple of years. Kirby made the same type of
Yes.
silly mistakes against Saban.
He don't do it no more.
He don't do it anymore. So the Notre Dame coach, he blew. God, what did he blow a call against? Was it Duke or
Ohio State.
Ohio State? He blew a call against Ohio State. So these young coaches, they're a couple of years in. They're learning some things now that they're going to take with them. That they
Dan
really,
Lanning, look, they got a lot of money out there. I know
yeah.
Phil Knight has as much money as whatever. He's got a printing press in his damn.
Oh, them
basement.
unis were fire, by the way. Them chrome domes with the speckled
Oregon's
light.
always got the
Boy,
fire
them things.
outfits,
But
man.
my point is, who's going to get Dan? Because somebody's coming, whether it's Bama or Florida, and we're screwed. We should have got him to begin with, but we got Coach Freeze. But anyway, that's a whole nother.
I think Dan's found a home, and he's going to stay with it until Alabama calls.
I don't know,
and I
dude.
think if he keeps Oregon on the up and up, and they're in that hunt, and they're in the Final Four over the next couple of years, if Saban retires, to me, just
Why
from
not?
the outside looking in, Dan Lanning. If I was in charge at Alabama,
Why
he's
not?
number 1 on my list right
Hey,
now.
he's defensive minded, just like Saban,
Yep.
just like Kirby. They want Kirby. Forget Dabo.
Kirby's in his
ain't
own
we know
model,
Kirby
yeah.
unless Kirby just says I'm bored and I'm going to go.
No, he's
whatever.
retiring a dog.
He's that's never going to happen. But Dan should have already been down there at Opelika. But on to the next one. I better stop.
Nobody's coming to Opelika. You got Hugh Freeze.
Coach Freeze, except some call girls. But
right.
I digress.
That's really most of the big games, but I do want to touch on a couple of quick ones if y'all got anything to add. How about Oklahoma State? Our boys down in
Soon to be
Stillwater.
friend of the show.
Mr. Gundy, Coach Gundy, finally a few games ago, went away from his 3-quarterback set. The first game, he let the quarterback play the whole game, and they lost. But that guy has gotten his wings under him a little bit, and they've been on a roll now for a few games, had a lot of yards, and upset number 23 Kansas.
Yeah, I will briefly speak on the nightmare that happened in Baton Rouge last Saturday evening. Oh my God, y'all! We don't have
48 to 18.
Good God Almighty! I can't even believe we got 18. Honestly, 6 snaps. Auburn snaps the ball 6 times, and we're already down 17. That's in the first quarter. That's the first quarter.
Hey, you scored a touchdown in the second quarter, though.
Yeah, by the grace of God. It's like he called timeout and moved everybody and they ran. I mean, this is against a poorest LSU defense that we pound, we just beat on them every week about
I
how
think
bad
y'all
their defense is.
single-handedly got Jaden Daniels back in the Heisman
Well,
talk.
hell yeah. Dude, that joker was, I mean,
I think Auburn carried him off the field on their shoulders.
hell, he might as well have. I mean, it was. God, I feel bad for Coach Freeze though. You could just see. I mean, he wanted to slap somebody. He didn't have anybody to slap, but he wanted to just choke the hell out of somebody. Peyton Thorne lines up. This is in the first quarter. The second series of the game. I don't even know what the hell he's doing. They snapped the ball just so, thank God that Jarquez Hunter was standing there to get on the damn ball. I'm like, what are y'all doing, Coach Freaking? It's just, we got problems. We got big time problems. We don't have a quarterback. I mean, I don't know how many times I got to say that. We don't have a quarterback.
I think
I don't give a damn what he
things.
did against Georgia. We don't have a quarterback.
12 of 23 for 102, 26.7 QBR. Playing his ass off.
Michigan State's finest. God. Anyway, I digress, Tony. Sorry.
No, that's fine. That's fine. But, I mean, let's stick with the SEC real quick because, Alabama, they're back to their old ways. They didn't look super strong. Arkansas kept it close, and Alabama pulled it out.
Arkansas is on the verge of being a really good team.
And they're calling for his head, man.
Yeah, absolutely they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want him
I'm
gone.
going to get him out there. Georgia'll take him right back quickly.
I mean, they're on the verge. They're right there with everybody they play. And the running back, well, he just came back, but got hurt again.
Yeah, he didn't play though.
But so he's gone. So it's tough to be in a position the way he is in Arkansas, where they're actually probably as good as they've ever been, playing good football, and just getting. I mean, the SEC's got some good teams.
Yeah, I mean,
they're
they
just
lost
strong.
5 in a row, but the last 5 games, I mean, they're all close. 38-31 BYU, 34-31 LSU, 34-22 Texas A&M, 27-20 Ole Miss, and then 24-21 Alabama. So
And the one before that's when they beat Arizona in double overtime, right?
no, they beat Kent State 28-6, and they beat Western Carolina 56-13. They haven't played Arizona. I'm talking about Arkansas here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Arkansas has lost 5 in a row.
Yes.
But they've all been close games outside of the Texas A&M game, which they lost 34-22. But all the other ones were one-score games. They're on the verge, but Pittman is on the hot seat, it appears.
Alabama's got some serious problems on the offensive line.
They do. They've had problems blocking all year. That's going to be the Achilles heel when they play a really strong team with a good defense.
War Eagle.
Well, they're probably going to play us in the SEC championship if we get there without Bowers.
No,
but
no,
we'll
no.
see.
Oh my God! Here we go.
Hey, man, we got plenty of weapons. We should be all right. Next man up.
All right, real quick, let's talk about Florida. 5-2, squeezes out a game against South Carolina. They can't figure out their identity. One week they can look like they're going to win the East or be the second best team in the East, and the next week they look like they don't even deserve to be on the field. But here's what I do have to say about Florida. I had them being the surprise team of the year. I don't know if y'all have looked at their schedule, but Florida is currently sitting at 5-2. And I reviewed their schedule earlier today, and I thought to myself, Florida is going to end the season 5-7.
Yeah, because it gets rough here starting next week.
Their schedule from here on out.
Yeah,
I completely thought that was going the opposite direction.
I was hoping he wasn't coming back. Oh, God.
No, they're done. They got a bye week, and then they get Georgia. And then they get Arkansas, who is probably going to step up and beat Florida at this point. Then they get LSU.
In Baton Rouge.
In Baton Rouge. Then they travel to Missouri. And then they got Florida State. So there's a chance that 5-2 Florida, that's sitting on a high feeling like they're doing something, is the year 5-7.
Yeah.
And they talk about calling for some heads.
Oh, Billy Napier, watch out.
He's got it in the guillotine already.
I mean, he got his hand on the string there waiting to snatch it, but let's just say, let's say they do beat Arkansas. I think their win total was 6.5.
Then they get to 6-6. They're best. They're at best. I bet you they finish 500 at best.
At best.
At best. We'll
Unless
see.
something I don't see them stopping LSU, and they got to go to Missouri. I don't see them stopping that because that damn freight train they got rolling over there is
Missouri
something to be reckoned with. So
Missouri's the second best team in the East.
they are.
And they might be the first best team in the East.
Yeah,
we'll find out.
We're
going to find out in a couple
They
weeks.
do got to come to Athens.
So, when they come to Athens, we're going to find out what Georgia's made of.
Yeah, Florida's in trouble.
Because that's going to be a contest. So
Go Gator.
Chomp chomp is going. Hey, you know what though? You never know what can happen at the end of the year. The rivalry game, Florida State. Like you see all kind of crazy things happen where the dog ends up coming out with the win.
Look,
So
that Florida State, just real quickly, and then I'll let y'all go. What Florida State did to Syracuse in the second half of that ball game last week, flipped the switch, and it's on.
just turned it on.
It reminds me of Burrow and them 2019 when they decided they wanted to score 5 touchdowns. And guess what? One drive, touchdown. Second drive, touchdown. Bam, 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 bam. Next thing you know, it's 41-7. Thank you very much for even showing up.
Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, well, speaking of Florida State, I don't see how they lose a game finishing the season.
Nah, they're going to run the table.
Yeah.
I really thought that Kentucky was going to play Missouri a little bit stronger. But
Georgia beat the hell out of them.
Georgia ate their soul.
But I thought that
Yeah, I mean, I did too.
I thought it was going to be closer. I figured Missouri was going to win, but I just thought it was going to be a little bit more of a competition.
I mean, look, Brady Cook only had 167 yards. It's not like they played. Hell, they were only down by 3 at halftime. But when you're relying on Ray Davis to do, and again, he only had 20 carries for 130 yards, and that, they don't have Devin Leary. He was never fully healed when he started the season, and he damn sure ain't healthy now. Y'all saw when he played Georgia, he could not move out of the tackle box. I mean, he couldn't get past the tackle.
2-step.
That's it. So, we'll see. Kentucky's 5-2, and
yeah, I mean, it seemed like it was a pretty close game because we were flipping channels, and they gave up 18 points in the fourth quarter, and you just can't do that.
no.
Hey, where's Drake May sitting in the Heisman race right now?
I don't know. He's probably third or fourth favorite.
He's had some good games these last few weeks.
Yeah. Look. So if LSU, if they run the table, now that means they beat Alabama and Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
Okay? And that means they go to
Which will be tough to do
It's
still.
going to be very tough to do.
Is it really though this year?
Well, I mean, with that defense that
they're
LSU has, hell yeah.
Yes.
Hell, they'll make Milroe look like the Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah, Milroe might throw for 500 yards in that game.
So it's a Pac-12 game?
I
Is that
don't-
what you're saying?
Pretty much.
Well, I mean, but that's what's so crazy.
But that Alabama defense is a little better than what LSU's seen.
And it's getting better. They're getting better every week.
Yeah. So
But I mean, Michael Penix is $1.40. You got to lay $1.40 to get 100 back on Michael Penix. There's no way I would be doing. There's no way. Hell, he still got 6. Hell, he might get hurt next week.
yeah,
Drake May's going to have numbers. Him and Daniel's going to have and Travis Jordan too.
Yeah.
From FSU, he's going to have crazy numbers.
they're gonna at the end of the year when they look at the numbers as a whole and they're not breaking them down each week game by game.
Carson Beck, he's going to have great numbers.
Carson Beck has some of the best numbers ever in Georgia. He set another Georgia record
Well,
this
he's going
week.
to have even more now because he's sure enough going to have to find somebody. Ladd
Lad's
we trust.
coming back. Oscar Delp is he's going to be fine.
We still got Lovett. Rosemary
And
Jackson.
Lucky, we got Lucky also coming. He had a great
freshman.
spring game. He's going to get a chance to show out.
So I obviously you can't replace Brock Bowers. Like you can't replace a guy who's probably the best player in football. But Georgia has enough weapons that they got 3 guys that can go out there and replace him if they spread the ball correctly.
Ladd coming back is huge because
Yeah,
him and Carson's already made a connection in 2 games.
Yeah, and he's the other third down go-to guy.
Right.
Yeah.
That Brock has become for Carson.
Yeah.
So
and I think, he has been looking at Delp. Delp has got some catches.
yeah, he just had a big fumble a couple weeks ago, and
but you know what?
They pulled the ball back from him. But
If Lucky can step in because he's supposed to be phenomenal too.
yes, sir.
I mean, God, I hate y'all.
Oh, that's awesome. How about
Hope y'all
Miami
lose
falling
every game.
apart? Miami's falling apart. They're done. They are fucking done.
Ain't no wallet guy saving them.
Nope.
Hell no.
Drake May threw
G
for
Unit Wallet and the rest of them go to hell. It's over.
Drake May.
It's over.
He threw for 273 with 4 touchdowns, no picks against Miami. Just absolutely, just run
Dude,
it up on
how
them.
could you? But after what happened against Georgia Tech, they deserve to lose every game they play.
Well,
You kidding me?
Here's what got exposed is that their run defense is awful.
It's terrible.
Omarion Hampton for Carolina had 197 yards.
How many
on
points? How many points would Jordan
rushes.
Travis put on them?
24 carries for almost 200 yards.
How many points will Florida State put on them?
Oh my gosh.
It's going to be in the
gonna
40s.
find
They're going
out.
to hang it because Mike Norvell is going to. I guarantee that game has got one of them big red circles all the way around it. And hell, Florida State ain't got nothing else to do till they get there anyway.
Well, Florida State and UNC are looking pretty damn good.
It's going to be a
in
hell
the
of ACC. It's going to be a. Hey, Louisville.
Hey, I got one more to talk about when we do our. When
I
we
like
do our
Louisville
picks.
till this week.
Yeah, how about 2 and 4 Pittsburgh?
I tried to
taking it
tell
to
y'all.
Louisville?
I tried to tell y'all.
I
but
tried to told you.
Y'all got my text jacked up.
We did screw up your picks. We'll let you talk about that. All right, y'all want to move into what you like this week?
Perfect.
What we got to look forward to for week 8? Big games coming up.
I like it.
What you think, Jeffrey?
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, the obvious
what
one,
you got?
Penn State and Ohio State.
Penn State. This is where the round robin kicks in for the Big Ten, right? your Penn State, Ohio State, and Michigan. And Penn State play, I guess, next week or the week after that, and then Ohio State and Michigan play. The whole thing.
It's going to work itself out in the next few weeks.
There's only going to be one of them to end. And you know what? I don't think Michigan's going to lose, but we'll talk about that later on or whatever. But even if they do, them teams, they don't play nobody except them three. They don't play nobody else.
Listen, Michigan's going to run the table they're in. Just chalk them up.
Yeah, they're in.
They're beating the shit out of everybody. They look phenomenal. Like, it looks like everything on paper, everything on TV, the eye test, they got it all, man. They look.
I don't want any of the Notre Dame fans to get it twisted. I'm not saying y'all suck or nothing like that, but y'all lost to Louisville, okay?
Yeah.
So I don't want to hear about, Ohio State beat Notre Dame. I don't. Duke, if Riley Leonard got hurt, obviously, but it was the end of the game, and he was kind of banged up throughout the game. That whole thing might have been different there, too. And give it up for Notre Dame for playing the schedule they play it. But other than Notre Dame, I'll just say other than Notre Dame, tell me who Ohio State, what does it, I mean...
No, Penn State,
Michigan. That's it.
Penn State, Michigan. We're going to see what happens, though. Penn State's playing good football.
Yeah. This will be Drew Aller's first true road game. He went to Northwestern and played, and whatever the other game was, Indiana, I think.
Ohio State has not done it for me this year. When I watched them play, they're physical. I watched that Notre Dame game was a good physical football game, but Penn State's physical too, and Penn State's big up front. I think that Penn State's going to roll into the shoe and surprise some people.
Well, so we'll get to that here in just a little bit.
All right, Tennessee, Alabama this week. Number 7 Tennessee rolling into Tuscaloosa. Any thoughts on that?
Did anybody pick that game? Between us four?
No.
Chris?
No.
All right, so I tried for Chris Busby, Tim Fell, Philip Van Pelt. Who else is our Tennessee guys that listen to us?
Scott Underwood.
I tried to talk myself in so bad, so hard into taking the points with Tennessee. I tried, but then I kept thinking, Nick Saban remembers what happened last year when they lost to overtime up there in Knoxville.
Ooh, I told you he's on a comeback tour for them too.
But, look, give it up for Tennessee's defense. It has just absolutely come to life in the last 2 weeks. I'll give it up for them. If they can get pressure on Jalen Milroe, and by all means, it looks like they can, because it does look like Alabama has got some deficiencies on that offensive line. But I don't know about Tennessee's defensive backs. And Milroe's done got to where he likes to throw the ball down the field now, taking shots with Trey Burton all the time. So what can Tennessee do? What can Joe Milton do against that defense? I don't think he's going to do very much. They don't have any explosive wide receivers. They have been running the ball better. But I think it's up to 9 now. I think it come out at 7.5 or 8, and I think it's up to 9 now. So the money's coming in on
I showed it at 9.5 today.
9.5, yeah.
And I'm going to tell you right now, I couldn't do any line. I couldn't play any money with Tennessee no matter what, knowing that they lost to Florida this year.
Well, and bad.
And
Florida
bad.
made them look bad.
So, what the hell's going on? Like I said, that's what I was talking about earlier with Florida. Who the hell are they? All right, Utah and USC. Can Utah beat USC for a third time in a row? Except this time they got no quarterback.
I don't know how many times they can turn Caleb Williams over. I would expect it's probably going to happen.
I mean, they're playing at USC,
which doesn't really. I mean, honestly, Oregon, Washington, and Utah is about the only teams out there. And maybe Wazoo. You might give Washington State a little home field advantage, but there is no USC don't have a home field advantage. But that being said, it's not at home. They do not have Cam. God knows who's going to start. Is it going to be Bryson Barnes? Or is it going to be Nate Johnson? I mean, who do we know?
They've been playing better with Bryson Barnes.
Yes.
And so Bryson Barnes actually played better the very first game
against
Florida than Nate Johnson. But they rolled with Nate Johnson for a few weeks, and that's when they lost that game. To Oregon State. And I think if Bryson Barnes plays that game, because they only needed a few first downs to win that game. They didn't need to dominate that game. They just needed to be able to control time possession a little bit and let the defense do its thing. They just gave Oregon State too many opportunities, and the defense couldn't stand up. So
I mean, if you're going to tell me this game's going to be played in the high 20s, maybe a 32-28. I can see a Utah because let's just be honest. USC's defense is
garbage.
It is bad.
Doo-doo.
It is terrible. So, is there a chance? Yeah, there's a chance, but this has got to come from either a second or a third string quarterback for Utah that does not turn the ball over.
Right.
You cannot just keep giving Caleb Williams opportunities.
Right.
So, it'd be an interesting game.
We got number 16 Duke rolling into Tallahassee.
I'm glad you brought this up because I had this one on my wannabe upset alert, but the problem is it's not in Raleigh. There's no Riley Leonard to go there either. So, look, Mike Norvell has those guys focused. Whether Johnny Wilson plays or not, Keon Coleman, did y'all see that catch that Joker made last week? Good. You saw it, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, the one-hander over the middle. Unbelievable. All right. So I'm a big Riley Leonard fan. I like his moxie. I like the whole thing.
Mama, all that.
The whole marketing thing with his mama. I like that.
I don't know the mama joke.
No, his mom.
Oh, yeah.
He's the one whose mom has the "You Suck" bracelets and started all that.
I remember that story.
I like that he's a hard-nosed kid, that he runs the ball. Hell, he was damn near the leading rusher while he was playing. But since he's been out, Henry Bellin has stepped in. And what people don't realize is that you feel like you lost a lot with Riley Leonard, and maybe you did on the rushing side, but Henry Bellin Riley Leonard had a 62.7% completion rate. Well, Henry's coming in right at 60%, but he's averaging 4 yards per catch longer. He's got 3 touchdowns to 1 interception, which were the exact same that Leonard had through his first 5 games, however many he played. And he's getting it done. He's actually got a quarterback rating of 194, which was almost 70 points, 65 points higher than Riley Leonard's. So the backup quarterback at Duke, I think, is surprising people. He's surprising me because I thought when Leonard was done, they were done.
Look, Mike Elko, his defensive coordinator, Sam Tanucci, who is a rising star, he's not going to be the DC at Duke for very long. Somebody's going to snatch him.
Oh, they're playing
Somebody's going to
defense.
snatch Mike Elko up.
They're not giving up anything. Look at the points they give up this year.
Yeah. But here again, Florida State now, yes, they played Southern Miss, the last 5 games, Southern Miss, BC, Clemson, Virginia Tech, Syracuse. Over the whole season, they're only giving up a little more than 18 points a game. So they're playing defense. And they got the dudes. They got the dudes on the defensive side of the ball to play too.
Yep.
So it's going to be, you are asking a lot for Duke to go into Tallahassee and upset them. What's the line, like 14?
I don't think they're going to win the game.
But you think it's going to be closer than the experts
I got them picked.
Not so fast, Mike.
All right, Josh, you were out last week. Did you have any picks for the week? Did you do anything on week 7?
I didn't. I slept and had gum graft surgery, which was incredible. So, yeah, no picks for me last week.
I'll just go ahead. I took Michigan State plus the 4.5 against Rutgers, and Rutgers beat them 27-24, so that was a win. James Madison, I laid the 6 points over Georgia Southern because
They're still undefeated, by the way.
yeah, and they don't even get to play for a conference championship or go to a bowl game. But
That sucks.
James Madison handled Southern 41-13.
I mean,
like
absolutely
I said,
drummed
their
them.
defense, man. These guys are getting overlooked so bad, and their defense is out of this world. I'm talking about they held Georgia Southern 13 points. That's big, especially in that conference. And then I laid the 31.5 with Georgia, thinking Vanderbilt ain't scored a touchdown against them since 2018, and hot damn 2 minutes into the game, 5 plays, 75 yards. See ya, that was gone. I said, well, kiss my ass on that one. But then Georgia proceeded to score like on the next 5 or 6 possessions in a row. But they just, 37-20, that was a loser. And then I had Pitt plus the 7.5 over Louisville. Pitt won straight up 38-21, and my whole thing about that was, now look, Pitt was Louisville outgained them yardage wise 435 to like 234 or something.
Just ran them down the field.
Yeah, but that was a huge letdown that was Louisville's big. They beat Notre Dame the week before. That was their biggest win, and God, who knows? New head coach, coming back home. So I figured that was a letdown spot, and it kind of worked out that way. And then my blowout of the week was Michigan minus 33 over Indiana. 52-7. Michigan goes down 7-0 and then proceeds to score 52 unanswered points. That we went 3-1 on the week and 1-0 with the blowout of the week. That brings my record back up to 523-23 for the year and 6-4 on the blowouts of the week.
There you go.
Nice.
Now we're starting to cook with a little bit of.
Starting to get a little feeling for what's going on
Crisco
out there. Yeah, seeing some action.
All right. Well, so I had Stanford versus Colorado. I had Colorado to cover.
Oh.
And they had it all through halftime, and then it all fell to pieces. So I lost that one. I had Arkansas versus Alabama. Alabama was a 19.5 point favorite. I had Arkansas on that one, and Alabama was they won by 3 points, and so I ended up winning that one. And then finally, I had the Auburn versus LSU. LSU blew them out, so ended up losing that one too. So
you were 1
and lost 2, and I'm still at 53% for the year. Not great.
Close, though. You need 56% to be a winning better.
I had a good damn week, and I'd had a great damn week if Dan Lanning would have just kicked a fucking field goal. All right, Dan Lanning.
Kickings for losers.
Kickings for losers. I went 7-2-1 on the week. Here's the problem. I would have been 9-1 because I had Oregon.
Money line.
I had Oregon to cover, which they pushed. I had Oregon to win the game on the money line. So that was my 1-1 there at the end. So Dan Lanning cost me a 9-1 week, but 7-2-1 is still pretty good. I'm going to take it. I'm not going to go through all of them individually, but what a great week I had. And since I lost my picks from the first couple of weeks, I've only got week 3 to 8 wrote down. That's got me at 25, 20, and 3.
That's pretty damn good.
Yeah. So I'm ahead of over 500, but not where I'd like to be. I'd like to be a little better than that. Who wants to start off with this week's picks?
Picks this week. I'll get us started. Why not?
Go ahead.
So I have Georgia. 2 picks for the week.
Georgia's not playing.
Yeah, three picks for the week. Georgia's going to win as they sit on the couch. I've got Missouri over University of South Carolina, giving up 7 points. So I'm taking Mizzou over South Carolina. I think Mizzou is probably the best team in the SEC. Maybe Georgia. We'll see. I'm going to put Georgia slightly ahead until that game, but Mizzou looks good, man, and I'm scared because they played us tough last year.
They won't beat Georgia because of the head coach.
Well, I hope you are right, Jeffrey. And then for my second pick, I'm going to take Oklahoma over UCF, giving up the 19. That's a lot of points, but Oklahoma's been steamrolling. They're hot off that win over Texas. And, I just don't see UCF being able to keep up with the boys in Oklahoma. So I got that one.
All right, T, what you got?
All right, so my picks this week, Michigan versus Michigan State. I've got Michigan favored by 24 points. I think Michigan covers that game. Ole Miss versus Auburn. After seeing Auburn's quarterback, I got to go with Ole Miss covering that game. And then I'm with Josh on UCF versus Oklahoma. I got Oklahoma covering that game.
3 favorites.
This will be the first time that the 3 of us agree on a game.
Y'all know what that means. Red alert, red alert.
Red alert, red alert. Because I do have Saturday. I've got UCF rolling into Norman, Oklahoma, 61 degrees and sunny, and getting their ass smacked by the Oklahoma Sooners. I think
Poor old Gus.
They're going to get fucking wrecked.
Dylan Gabriel might have 600 yards.
I got him at minus.
And you know what? Look, little side note, little nugget. You know where he transferred from, right?
Dylan Gabriel.
Central Florida.
UCF, yeah.
Yes.
So I got Gus going down there to get that ass spanked, your buddy Gus. It's at 19.5 is what I had Oklahoma having to be by. If it was 21, I'd have probably still taken Oklahoma to cover. And I'm also going to play over 65 because I think Oklahoma's going to get damn near most of it by themselves. Mm-hmm. So, but let's go back. Let's back it up a little bit. Game that's already started. I haven't looked at the updates like Jeff has, but I have actually had Liberty at home tonight, covered minus 14.5 against Middle Tennessee State. Sorry, Brooks and Michelle Nunley. I know y'all like your MTSU, but I got a feeling they're going to get that ass smacked tonight. And then I'm moving on to Thursday night. I got James Madison rolling into Huntington, West Virginia to remain undefeated against Marshall at minus 3.5. We talked about Oklahoma. We talked about, how about those Golden Gophers? I got those Golden Gophers traveling to Iowa City this week where
They're They're catching 3.5.
They're going to have defense on alert as Iowa moves to 7-1 in an absolute barn burner, something around 17-10 over the Golden Gophers. So I got Iowa covering 3.5 and under 32.5. So then I got Duke rolling into Tallahassee. Now, we talked about this game a little bit ago. I think Florida State is going to win this game, but I think Duke is going to give them a little scare. I think that it's going to that they're going to hang in there. I'm taking Duke in the 14. I think that Florida State probably wins this game, I don't know, 44-35 or somewhere in that range. I'm hoping that Duke shows up. But and I'm also going over. I don't know why the total's so low in this game.
It's dropping. I don't know if it's weather related or not.
It might be, but I'm going over 49 for sure. And then last one, I got Stanford at home. UCLA's coming to town.
17.
We got another barn burner here, son. We got a shitty Stanford team against a no offense UCLA team. So I'm going to take Stanford in that plus 17. I don't think it's going to be a close game. I think UCLA is going to have a big win, an easy win over them, like 24-10 or something, 21-7, 21-9.
As long as they don't turn the ball over.
Right. So I'm going Stanford with taking that 17 points and under 55.
Yeah, and
Stanford's coming in hot off that back half of the Colorado game.
That total.
Well, they don't give
dropping.
up, right?
Yeah, that total's weird, isn't it? 50. They got 55 in UCLA Stanford, but 49 in Duke
Yeah, I don't.
and Florida State.
That's a hell of a point, actually, Tony.
I mean, the only thing
They
I
do
can
not
think
give
of
up.
is that
If that Duke defense plays strong against Florida State, though, and it could be a 31-20 game.
yeah. Well, look,
That's still
Mike
over.
Elko is going to have something dialed up for him.
So
You can bet on that. Now, look, this might be Jordan Travis's Heisman coming out. Now, I mean, I know he looked great against LSU and really hadn't, really had to, he come back on Boston College, but he really hadn't had a quote-unquote Heisman moment. He might be saving it for Miami because when that game comes, y'all can circle that one.
I don't think Duke's going to give him his Heisman moment.
Well, I'm just saying, if he does, if something happens, this could be it.
This is an upset alert game.
That's what if this thing was in Raleigh,
I'm not picking them to win. I don't think they're going to win. But I'm saying if there was an upset alert game this week and I was going to put it on, that's the one.
Look, I'm a Florida State fan. They're my second team behind Auburn, no doubt about it. And I don't want to get too high on them, but Mike Norvell does have those guys on. He has them focused now, But the problem is, you have a great defensive team, and if you don't believe me, ask Dabo. Okay, ask Notre Dame how good Duke is. I mean, these guys, they show up and they don't make mistakes. They don't make mistakes.
Discipline.
Yes, absolutely. They're all smart. We all know that,
Right.
right?
You get smart kids together.
Yeah, except for Vandy. But anyway,
All
Damn
right,
it.
Jeff, what about your picks, buddy?
start off at 12 o'clock Saturday afternoon on Fox. Penn State rolls into the shoe. James Franklin, 2-11 on the road versus top 25 teams, 0-9 on the road versus top 10 teams, 1-11 versus top 5 teams, and 1-8 versus Ohio State. But you know what? Give me Penn State and them 4 points. I'm gonna take it.
So you taking Penn State?
Look, here's a couple of little trends for y'all. Penn State, after a straight up win, they're 9-0 against the spread in the last 10, 9-0-1 in the last 10 games. Penn State as a top 25, 9-0-1 in the last 10 games, and Penn State on the road as a top 25, 8-2 over the last 10 games. Ohio State versus James Franklin, 1-6 against the spread. Ohio State versus lower ranked team, 1-8 against the spread. Ohio State at home versus a top 10 AP opponent, 4-11 against the spread. Ohio State versus Penn State, 1-6 against the spread.
May the odds be forever in your favor.
Let's see. So give me Penn State. Penn State's 6-0 against the spread right now. Ohio State's 3-2-1. Ohio State's got questions about their running back, Travion Henderson, Ibeka, the receiver, Beku, and they don't know if he's playing, but Marvin Harrison, 604 yards and 5 touchdowns. He's for real. So, Penn State's got the two-headed monster at the running back with Singleton and Allen. They combined for 737 yards and 9 touchdowns this year. And Drew Aller making his first true road game, which is always a red flag, right? But, I mean, this kid's thrown for 1,250 yards, 12 touchdowns, no interceptions. He's rushed for 3 touchdowns. So, now, granted, who have they played? Well, I mean, that's up for debate, So we'll see. Listen, I don't think Penn State's going to beat them, but I do think it's going to be a one-possession game, maybe a field goal at the end or something like that. You know, it's really hard to win in Columbus. Everybody knows that. But I'm going to take Penn State in the 4. My next game Saturday, 3:30 on NBC. Minnesota goes to Kinnick Stadium to take on those Hawkeyes. I'm gonna go under 32. There's several trends here. I can go on and on and on, but let's just face it, man. If they break 24 points in this game, I'll be shocked.
I was playing on a backup quarterback.
I mean, it's gonna be a nasty, nasty game. I'm gonna go under 32 on that. My next game is going to be Saturday at 3:30 on ABC. Washington State rolls into Eugene down to Oxton Stadium to take on Goodbow. I'm going to lay the 20, and here's why. That team knows that if they can just run the table, you know, keep doing what they've been doing, that they got a shot to win the Pac-12 and be in the Final Four. If whoever wins the Pac-12, as long as it's a one-loss team or a no-loss, they're in.
Agreed.
Okay?
Yep.
And I don't think for 1 second that this is not a coaching malpractice like what Mario Cristobal did at Miami. This is not one of those kind of, you know, Dan Lan's trying to win the game, period. And then the guys know, hey, he had faith in us. We didn't do what we were supposed to do, or however you want to look at it, whatever you want to say.
Yeah, but his guys know that he stands behind him. He believes in him. Right.
Absolutely. I mean, Bo Nix, 1,800 yards, 17 touchdowns, 1 interception this year. Bucky Irvin, Jordan James, they got over 900 yards rushing. They got 13 touchdowns between them. They got the outstanding wide receiver, Troy Franklin, 40 receptions, 700 yards, 8 touchdowns. Their defense is probably I don't know if they're better than Utah, but they're right there with Utah.
They're good. Yeah.
They're good. And this is a Washington State team that has just completely
got exposed.
I mean, I got Cam Ward's
Pretenders.
stats. They figured out, hey, just put 3 on the line and put 4 in coverage, and Cam can't he can't do nothing.
Yeah.
And one thing about it, Oregon can play some damn defense.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to get after him, and I think this might be one of them sure enough get right games.
I like it.
And I think Oregon rolls.
I'm gonna make a quick prediction on Oregon Ducks. They're gonna run it out undefeated the rest of the year. They're gonna come back and defend their loss against Washington. They're gonna roll Washington by double digits, and Bo Nix is gonna win the Heisman. You heard it here first.
Watch out.
Ooh.
Here it comes.
Oh, Auburn fans will love that.
Holy shit.
Golly.
I'm calling it, boys. All right, Jeff,
boy.
go ahead. Sorry. I keep interrupting you.
My next game is going to be Saturday at 7 o'clock, and I don't think this one's going to be on TV, guys, but Colorado State against the Running Rebels at UNLV.
You're going deep in the vault.
More people tuned in for Buford Mill Creek last week, the high school game, than going to watch that.
Look, UNLV's 8-point favorite, 62. I'm going over the 62. UNLV averages 37.5 points a game. Colorado State averages 31 points a game. UNLV, let me tell you guys, 5-1, looking for bowl eligibility right here.
Ooh.
Look, they've scored 40 points in every game they played except against Michigan when they went on the road to Michigan and they got boat raced 35-7. Other than that, they scored 44, 40, 45, 44, and 45. Colorado State, hey, they've been playing good too. So, I think this is going to get the bell's going to be ringing a lot. They're playing at Allegiant Stadium, downtown Las Vegas, where the Raiders play. Fast track, lots of points. Over 62. Then we're going to go down to Saturday night, 10:30 FS1. The Sun Devils going to Husky Stadium to take on the undefeated Washington Huskies. Washington's laying 28. Give me those 28 points. If there's ever been a letdown, kind of, very similar to the Louisville Pitt last week. This is just a spot play. I'm getting 4 touchdowns. Do I think Arizona State's going to beat them? No. But do I think Arizona State can keep it close? Absolutely, I think they can keep it close. This is a letdown game. And Michael Penix, it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. He has his on and off times, and who knows how long are they going to let him play? What are they going to do? But Arizona State at Washington at the Husky Stadium, they're 6-1 against ATS. Arizona State as an underdog of 14 or more points, they're 11-3-1 against the spread.
You do know that they're 1-5, right?
Absolutely.
It's not Arizona.
No, it's Arizona State.
Okay.
It's the Sun Devils. The Sun Devils, the same one that took USC to the tilt there a couple of weeks ago.
They did.
Yes, absolutely. And then my blowout of the week. Michigan travels to Michigan State, to East Lansing. 24-48. I'm going to lay the 24 points. And I'm just telling you right now.
52-3.
This is, look, Michigan State is in a world of crap, okay? They've lost 4 straight. Mike D'Antoni didn't come back trying to straighten out the mess that Mel Tucker left behind. You look at Michigan's offense, they average 413 yards, 231 passing yards, 182 on the ground, 39.4 points a game. Their defense, they're number 2 total defense. They give up 233 yards, 142 in the air, 91 rushing yards, and 6.7 points a game. I mean, that is just boat racing, folks.
Total domination.
And Michigan State, when you look at their defense, they give up 334 yards, 219 in the air. They give up over 115 yards on the ground, and they give up 24 points a game. And this is
that's
not
the shit teams.
Yes, against the bad teams. So if you know, Harbaugh, he's always got his teams focused. This is a rivalry, whatever you want to call it. You know, I think it means a whole lot more to Michigan State. It's about like Georgia playing Georgia Tech. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna lay the 24. Michigan's been my blowout of the week. I think this will be the third time. Third time's a charm.
Yeah,
baby.
you've been on Michigan for your blowouts. All right, T, what's our stay in the truck this week?
My Stay in the Truck award goes to Shedeur Sanders.
Uh-oh.
So Shedeur was pretty comfortable with his lead at halftime over Stanford. After all, the score was 29-0. He was so comfortable that he was posting links to his merchandise on his Instagram account during the game.
Oh, my God.
So this probably would have gone unnoticed if they hadn't let Stanford come back and beat them 46-43. They did not score a single point in the third quarter. Shedeur, your actions matter on and off the field. Stay in the truck.
Stay in the truck.
Stay in the truck.
And, you know, just to ride that Colorado wave, honestly, Colorado has won college football this year. Let's say that. I mean, the Colorado Buffaloes have won at college football this year. When you talk about the attention, the social media, the financial gains, the ticket sales,
you're saying
everything.
You're saying Taylor Swift has won the NFL this year?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Travis Kelce has won the NFL this year. So, Travis Swift. So, but Colorado, they have won the NCAA college football season. But they damn sure lost this weekend. They lost this weekend bigger than any team has probably ever lost that was trying to climb that hill and get on the other side of that mountain. And, man, they shot themselves in the foot. So I'm riding that wave with you, Shedeur Sanders and the Buffaloes, and Coach Dion, and the lack of composure that he likes to preach, and the lack of discipline that he likes to preach. And I like what Dion does, and I like a lot of the things that he says. I think that he means well. He doesn't talk any ill will of other people. He's really doing a lot of good things. But, man, all those things that they preach and that they do and that they advertise, they did absolutely none of this week.
They're missing the whole point about being humble, and they got complacent.
So, yeah, I'm with you. Colorado, Dion, Shedeur, with your fancy watch, stay your ass in the truck.
That's right.
Stay in the truck.
Stay in the truck.
You want me to go, Jeff?
Go ahead.
All right, so my Stay in the Truck award goes to the just disappointing letdown of the Atlanta Braves. Man, we've made the playoffs 15 times since the year 2000. 15 times in 23 years we've made the playoffs. We've got one World Series to show for it, and that's not even talking about the heydays of the 90s with Maddox and Smoltz and Avery and Glavine and all those boys, which was another shit show.
The Joneses.
The Joneses. We've lost in the division series wild card 12 times. We've only made it out of that into the championship series 3 times. So the Braves were a major letdown, had the highest octane offense the game has probably ever seen. And once again, the Braves shit the bed, so stay in the truck.
Stay in the truck. You know, the worst part about that, though, is that
I had 9-1 on them.
Yeah, that was a terrible part, too. Jeff needed that. But everybody was on the Braves pitching staff, especially late in the year. They couldn't stop anybody. And you know what? The Braves pitching staff showed up. Like, when you lose 2 of your 3 games, the pitchers lost 1 game in that series. But those other 2 games, when you give up 3 runs
and you don't
and you have the highest scoring offense in the history of baseball, you got to win those games. Those guys got to step up and win those games.
So, you know, that's been the big talking point here lately is, will Major League Baseball make that adjustment where you don't get a week off? And will they reseed who you play? Because had they reseeded, the Braves would have caught the Diamondbacks and not the Phillies to start off with. You know, and they're talking about, you know, is this week off? And look, who was it? Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay out. The
Dodgers
out.
Yeah.
Dodgers out.
Dodgers
Right.
out.
They won game. Braves won 1 game. The other ones didn't even win a game. They got swept.
Yep.
Orioles.
Yep.
Done.
Swept.
Yeah, it was
So-
like the 5 highest teams with the record in baseball all went out.
Braves. They won 1 game, and that was the Braves with that miracle catch by Michael Harris to throw
the
out
double
Bryce
play.
Harper. Yeah,
That's right.
all
MLB, stay in the truck.
They're gonna have to figure out something.
They gotta figure
There's
it
too
out.
many teams, man. Baseball don't need 12 teams. They don't need 12 teams. You play 162 damn games.
They should be able to figure it out.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Either cut the season short and start the playoffs early or do something, but 162 games and then it's over.
Yeah,
I mean, they got to figure out something.
Yeah,
So.
it's tough.
I agree.
Well, I'm going to go back to the well with my good friend Dabo.
Dabo has just been a fucking punching bag.
I think at the end of the season,
Between Dabo and the NCAA.
Dabo needs an Everlast T-shirt, so you can just put it on. You can just
we're going to
beat
total
the
up
shit out
the
of
Stay in
him
the
all
Truck Awards at the end of the season, and we'll have to send him an award or something.
most SITTs.
So I was listening to some podcasts today, and I heard 2 of them talking about Dabo's conference, his whatever they call it, the Tiger Conference or whatever he had today, Tiger Calls, whatever they call it. Yeah, Clemson's off to a 4-2 start. You know, they totally crapped the bed against Duke, and, you know, Duke manhandled them, and then they had that fiasco with Florida State that evening up there a couple of Saturdays ago. So Dabo's on his Monday night radio show called Tiger Calls. He's responding to some of the negativity from the fan base. And I'm quoting this, okay? This is quotes. If you don't go undefeated, this is Dabo. If you don't go undefeated, people say you're losers, that you're terrible. It's such a terrible mindset, which I'll give him props. He's right for that, right? Then he says, and honestly, maybe we need to lose a few games and lighten up the bandwagon. What?
Hey, you know that job you wanted at in Tuscaloosa to retire from? That I think that application's been pulled.
We should let others win occasionally.
What in the hell?
What head coach would ever say that?
I mean, this dude, he didn't say that when he was signing that contract for $115 million damn dollars 2 years ago.
We're going to win
whatever
every
it was.
damn game.
Right.
You go. What?
Every now and then you need to pump the brakes.
Yeah, so Dabo, stay in the truck.
Stay in the truck, Dabo.
That's it for this week's show. We really appreciate you tuning in. Please remember to like, subscribe, and leave us some comments. Let us know how we're doing. Stay in the truck.